What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG. And welcome to Dear Black Gay Men Live. It's our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Now, we're having real conversations with real people live on the Dear Black Gay Men YouTube channel. Tonight, I'm talking to my porn crush from way back when. We just talked about how long I've known him. Venom. Kevyn Mines is joining me on the show. Welcome, Kevyn. How are you?
What's up, Jay? How are you?
So good.
Mr. Gentleman.
It's been a long time. I try to be gentlemanly.
Well, when I met you, you were very much a gentleman, and you've carried that through. So congratulations on all of your success and everything that you're doing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Coming from you, that really means something.
Oh, thank you.
That really means something from you. You're like legendary.
I hear people say that, but I'm Kevyn.
Of course, you're Kevyn to you, but I can tell you you're legendary.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Does it feel that way?
No. Not to me. Like, outside of my doors when I go to different places, maybe, but like, I'm home in my own little comfortable space with my family. I'm Kevyn.
Okay. Well, I mean, that just means you're normal. That you
exactly
haven't let it go to your head.
No, not yet. I'm working on it. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
So tell me now. I know how long we've known each other, but we will talk about you in the adult film industry. How long have you been in the game, like officially?
Oh, Jesus! So it's 2022. Literally, I hate to even say this. In 3 years, it would make years. No, it makes me feel real old to say that. No, I'll say it legitimately. It'd be 20 years in 3 years. Well, 2 years because 2023 is approaching. So 2025 will make it 20 years.
20 years.
I don't even think I'm that old.
I mean, you're not old. You're not that old.
Who's able to do that for 20 years, though? I'm listening. Go ahead.
I mean, people do things for 20 years, and you've been good at it.
Well, thank you. It just seems unreal. That's all.
That it's been 20 years?
Yes.
So the reason why that was so interesting to me, 20 years is a big deal because, like, adult film, you primarily have, like, taught us about us. Like, people have discovered their sexuality, discovered themselves to your work.
Yeah. I'm laughing in my head because maybe 5-10 years ago, I'd feel some type of way if someone told me they used to watch me when they were in high school, aka too young to be watching me. And this was 10 years ago, and now like 10 years later, I'm like, oh, please don't ever come. Like, just say you enjoy my work. Y'all don't have to tell me how long y'all been watching.
Well, I mean, I've known you, like, have met you 10 years ago. So
Yes.
you can only imagine how long I've been watching you.
Jesus. See, you just did it. Damn.
I just
am I allowed to curse?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, you just
in your
made me
house.
feel. So you said 10 years ago, and imagine how long you've been watching me, and it makes me think like, oh God, how old was he when he? Don't tell me, but like, how old was he when he first started? That's good. I mean, that's a start.
Like I was, I will tell you how I'll date it a little bit without telling you how long ago it was. Like when I discovered you, I had a porn guy who would bring DVDs to my house.
Oh wow, I remember those guys. I remember there used to be guys who used to have a whole bunch of bootleg porn DVDs in his bag or had a box or whatever he was carrying around. And obviously it wasn't just in New York or in Philly because you're not from either place.
I was in Dallas, Texas. And I will tell you, it was the most legendary clips that I can remember. I got a Prende and Coco Dorm in the same batch. And it was Scorpio, because he had a scorpion tattooed on his dick. From that Apprende scene, and you and Remy Mars is what I discovered all at the same time.
Yep.
I've got very vivid memory. Memory.
Yeah. At least I'm not the only one that's old. Remy, even though Remy's not doing work anymore, Remy is just as old, so I don't feel bad.
I mean, now I will say Remy is definitely younger than me, so you shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here for it. But
I'm here for it.
But before we get too deep into the conversation with Kevyn, can I call you Kevyn, or would you prefer?
Either way, whatever comes out your mouth when you say it, I'll answer.
Okay. Before we get too deep in the conversation with Kevyn, make sure that you hit the share button. I'd love to get to 50 shares on this episode. Hit the like button on Facebook, the thumbs up on YouTube. We're here for a good time, not a long time. And so make sure you subscribe to Dear Black Gay Men on YouTube so you never miss an episode. So, you've been in the game for a while.
Yes, sir.
And what is dating like for you?
It's evolved over the years. I think in the beginning of my career, I was very iffy myself. I've always made it clear to whoever I was dating who I was or what I did. I don't like to assume that everyone just knows who I am. So
people don't be knowing.
You know, some people like to act like they don't know. So I like to I play dumb with people. Because, you know, I think, that's a good question. I think overall, and this is something I learned from church. Being in church, I used to be a preacher. And one of the things that we learned in church is you don't just walk up to the pulpit, you wait till you're invited into the pulpit. Because just because you know who you are don't mean that everyone else knows who you are. There are a population of people who don't watch porn. And I can't assume that everyone knows who I am. You know, I think that would be a little bit arrogant to assume that everybody that I come across knows who Venom is. They don't.
I mean, that's fair, but as a viewer, you would have to be living under a rock for a long fucking time to exist in black gay culture and not know who certain fixtures were.
You know, I get that uncomfortable reminder often when I approach certain people. When I say that, like industry people, whether it be mainstream, whether it be porn, whether it's within gay culture, there are some people that I come across, and I do introduce myself as if I'm not the Venom, and they'll be quick to say, "Oh, I've never heard of you," and I could say, "Now I know damn well you know who I am," but I play the humble card. I look, all right, it just lets me know I don't want to work with you later.
So.
That's easy.
I do have I try not to have too many crazy questions about sex because it's so easy to get caught in the sex web when you're talking to black gay people. I do have one question, and I hope it's not offensive. But when did you know that you had a big ass dick?
I got a big dick?
Let's be real. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, when did you know? Was it like on the playground or in gym class, like other people? Like, when did you know?
So I did tell you I was a preacher. I was a preacher as a child, as a teenager. I was preaching, was licensed as a minister. And I was really trying to live the straight and narrow. And it wasn't until I realized that I was gay and I started encountering other guys and looking around like, oh, oh, oh. Yeah, it took a little experimenting to realize that it was a little bit different, or a lot different than some of the other things that I come across.
And so, what was that like with having that amount of self awareness? What was it like to go from I'm different, as far as my dick is concerned, to now I'm in adult entertainment? Like, how does that arc connect?
I still didn't put two and two. I was extremely young, which is why I'm able to say I've been in the game for almost 20 years. I was extremely young, so like I thought I was average until like I started interacting with other guys, and like in no time from me coming out, I was introduced to adult entertainment. So I was still discovering myself in the beginning of my career. I've seen some pretty impressive people, but it at the end of the day didn't dawn on me until my fans told me, actually.
Really?
Like, yeah.
So, looking back over your career, what is it like to go through that kind of self-discovery in the public eye?
It gave me a bit of an ego boost, I'm not going to lie. And there's also a couple of challenges with that, because people are quick to say, "What do you think you put in that?" So I had a lot of disappointing hookup dates that didn't turn out the way I thought they would. But it definitely built my ego and confidence to some extent. It was fun. It is fun. It is fun.
Wait, now are you talking about having a big dick or being in adult film?
I've married
Which
the
adults are
two.
you talking?
I've married the two. So basically, I'm saying that. And excuse me, because I'm doing this interview at home and my son is literally right in front of me, so I'm trying to be careful. Okay, he told me he can't hear me, but if he can tell me that means he can hear me. But anyway, no. So having a big dick is just something that in itself, it is fun. It's fun to take pictures. It's fun to have sex. It's fun to brag on. It's fun to get that attention. Actually is fun, and it's helped my career. So that's how I've definitely tied it to. Once I became aware that, hey, this is something that most people don't have. Now there are a lot of people with big dicks, but
yes, there are.
I like to think that I'm the total package, because you get the front, you get the back. I perform on both sides, and overall, I give my essence in my performances. So, because again, there's plenty of people who are attractive. There's plenty of people with good tools to work with, and they do good on camera, but the essence of who they are doesn't always shine through. So I think that that's what really sets me apart.
So I'm glad you brought up the front and the back, queens in the front, doms in the back. So when I discovered you, I thought you were a top. Like,
Yeah.
weren't you top?
That's interesting.
Early in your career?
In my life. It's interesting because in the beginning of my career, I was almost always cast as the bottom. In the beginning of my career.
Really?
Yes. There was a phase where I went from just the DVD thing to, like, when I transferred over to Dog Pound, they used me more in verse scenes. But like the scenes where y'all see me topping, it was more like the Remy scene. Anytime me and Remy did maybe like 3 or 4 scenes. Mm-hmm. The scenes with him was more to feature him. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, you got Venom and you got Remy, but it was like, okay, Remy's a bottom, so we're going to put him with you as a top. But a lot of other people, the producers and directors always wanted me to be a bottom. Like, I literally had to keep speaking up, say, hey, I'm verse. And then I think it moved from that to a bit more topping. And then I think the verse scenes are pretty much equal.
And so the reason I bring that up is because the content you create now is totally different vibe than the content you created earlier. And I will say, not just from a sexual standpoint, but from a viewer standpoint, as someone who I pride myself in having followed you for so long, it looks like you're a lot more of yourself when you connect. It looks like there's a lot more you.
Yeah, I retired or went on sabbatical or hiatus or whatever you want to call it for about 8 years, And when I decided to come back into the forefront, I was talking to the people that are closest to me, my two best friends. And one of my best friends, shout out to Leafy, he was basically like, Kev, it'd be so dope if people got to really see you. Prior to that, I was kind of like in this box as a homo thug or that hard, gotta act trait type person, super masculine. And I'm a masculine person naturally with my tendencies here and there. But he was like, no, I think you would do good if you really showed people who you are. Let them see how dope you actually are. Show them your personality and like be funny, have fun. And I took his advice, and clearly it's working. Hearing you mention that, so thank you for acknowledging.
Of course, but the interesting thing is it really did feel as if in your early career it was a character that you were playing, because when I actually met you, you were a totally different person.
Yes.
Than I expected you to be.
Yes.
Is that common?
It was
among entertainers.
Oh yeah, definitely. The sad part is a lot of viewers really don't care about our personalities. They don't care about our day life. They don't care about our family, our friends, and things like that. They want to see us having sex. And when you have a fantasy of someone who's like this strong masculine person, when you meet them in person, you really don't want to see somebody that's anything less masculine than that. And I mean, it's a fantasy. And I think on some level I ruined a lot of people's fantasies when they met me as Kevin opposed to being Venom. And I also feel like the flip to that is there are a lot of people who fell in love with Kevin and still support Venom.
I will tell you that I am, I mean, you've got a fan in me, so.
Oh, thank you.
Either way.
Thank you.
I am of the few that have met you in person, and I get to talk to you here, so that's different.
Let me ask you a question. Did you remember I called you my husband way back when we first started talking?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to make sure we still husbands. All right. Continue.
I mean, you husband in my head forever. So.
Okay. Because but it was something that you and I both established, opposed to just people who have that idea in their head. You and I both established that. Correct. You're my husband. Okay.
Of course, I will hold your hand and put a ring on it any day.
Anyway.
Just. But we did talk about one thing that I do want to touch on. So when you say people meet Kevin and sometimes they are disappointed, but it feels like you're leaning into that, because the Kevin now is a lot more than just a big dick and a fat ass. Like, you've written books, and you've written your book, let me get the name right, A Life of Lust. What inspired you to write in general?
I enjoy writing. I'm a creative person, so I enjoy doing things creatively. Actually, when you and I met, it was because of a web series that I created called Mama's Boy. And then I worked on another series that I wrote called Worlds Apart. I wrote a bunch of shorts. I've written poetry. I've written music. So it was just something. It's always been in me to write. And for years I said, I'm going to write a book about myself. I'm going to write a book. And it just never seemed to be the right time. The end of 2020 changed my life. It changed all of our lives. 2020 changed everybody's life for that matter.
2020 was a fucked up year.
Oh my gosh. I was just telling my mom about this Christmas song, We Wish You Had a Merry Christmas, or something like that along those lines. But like, can we just hurry up and end 2020? Because it's been, like you said, a fucked up year. But within that year, my mom, who was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, had to come move in with me. And then my 4-year relationship ended. I left my professional job as a infectious disease researcher, and I was just in this space like, what am I doing next? And that was when I came back into, I think it was August that year, I came into the OnlyFans world. And I was traveling from one spot to the other. I was in, I think, Chicago. I just got to Chicago. I was up there to shoot. But right before the shoot started, I had another interview to do. And I'm like, yo, I'm receiving so much love after being gone for 8 years. One, I felt like I needed to fill people in as to what was going on in those 8 years. Also, there's a big part of me when I do lean into Kevyn that I felt like I need to share with the world. I have so much to say, and it just felt like the right time to do it. So last June, I came out with a Life of Lust, Memoirs of the Porn Star.
I love the title, Memoirs of the Porn Star. So who is the porn star that you look up to, or you watched, or you like? I have Kevyn, I have Venom, but who is the Venom to you?
You know, I guess people would still know him because he was iconic to me. It wasn't Castro or Tiger Tyson. It wasn't none of those people. It was Shorty J. I don't even know if people remember who Shorty J is.
I just saw him on my timeline. I used to love him.
Send me him. I've been looking for him. We've been friends and I lost contact. Shorty J, I remember because I didn't watch porn, be honest with you, until I got into it. And even then, I wasn't like a big fan of, I'm turning on a video to, do what I need to do. But what they would do when I first started, they would put him on and I would be so aroused by him. And then one day I met him, like, oh my gosh, he also was a very talented person. He's a sweetheart. He was verse, had body, short as hell, but he was talented.
How short is he? Just out of curiosity.
I would say he's got to be like 5'5" maybe.
Oh, he's tiny.
He's small. He's a small guy, but he's stacked, and he's a dancer. Yeah, Shorty J.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but so he was the person that I looked up to without telling him, because like I didn't fan out with a lot of people, but I fanned out with him.
Do people still fan out with you?
Yes. Yes, they do.
What does that feel like? Like I remember one time I was at Bulldogs here in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting next to Todrick Hall. And I'm seeing all these throngs of people in this packed ass club looking at him, and I'm standing next to him, and I really asked him, like, this is your life. Like, how do you ever go have a cocktail? How do you like kick it?
So it's different for me. Todrick is known for dancing and singing and being on RuPaul's Drag Race and doing the flash mobs for Beyonce. The attention that he gets is different than mine because I'm mostly known for being naked and having sex. So most times people are afraid to actually come to me and acknowledge it. Oh, that sounds like Stoney.
It was on your timeline. I hit the button, but go ahead.
Yeah. So it's weird when people actually have the courage to speak to me. They don't really fan out. Every now and again, I'll come across somebody who's a fan, like a fanatic. But it's either people come discreetly and they're, I like your stuff, I appreciate what you do, or whatever the case may be, or my inbox, my DM's always blowing up, or somebody being extremely rude. And like I recall I was in a store with my aunt, my niece, and one of my children. And not my niece, my aunt, my cousin, and one of my children. And this guy walks and says, "Oh my gosh, you're Venom. I watch all of your videos." And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. He's like, "No, stop playing, dude. You're definitely Venom. I watch." So like that was an inopportune moment. I remember I used to work for Amtrak, and I met one of the conductors who knew who I was. And I said, "Hey, I want to keep a low profile, so keep it between us." The next day I went to work. The entire team knew who I was, or knew that I was Venom.
You know the queen's gonna say, right. I know Venom. The girls is gonna
say, no, it was bigger. It was bigger. It wasn't I know Venom. It was more so, Venom works with us, right? So now everybody's looking for me. And, it can be flattering, but it can also be like tiring.
It looks tiring.
Yeah, it can be tiring. I don't like to go out much by myself. I always like to have a wingman. Because I don't enjoy sitting at the bar by myself because people feel like it's an invitation to just come and shoot their shot, and it's not necessarily that. I can be rude because some people don't take the hint. Like I try to be nice, but some people don't take the hint, or I'll just have my wingman. But it's tiring.
So that's perfect because a podcaster that I look up to, he asked one of his guests this question: how does somebody appropriately flirt with you?
So I have a jacked, and on my jacked, I tell people, shoot your shot. You might miss, but shoot it. All right. I'm human too. I'm single. I'm not actually looking for anybody right now. But in my single days, I might want to date. I might want to interact with people. You can shoot your shot. But if I say I'm not interested, let that be that. That's all. We're human. I'm human.
Okay, I'm here for that. I will still shoot my shot even though you're not looking.
I encourage it. Maybe I'll see something that I know I was looking for.
Well, I mean, I do look very different than I used to, so maybe you'll see something that...
Maybe I already have.
Okay, but speaking of dating, you had a conversation with Samson McCormick, and you said this. Y'all check this out. Watch this.
Finding myself, I realized that I'm not a monogamous person. I've known this for a long time, but like now it's popular. Everybody wants to be poly, and I'm not knocking it. Please do find what works for you. Being in porn gave me that liberation to say, you know what? This is who I am. I'm going to embrace it. And if a person comes in my life and this isn't what they want, I'm not mad at you, but I just can't subscribe to anything other than who I am.
So you talked about how porn helped you build your confidence, uncover who you are. Yes. My question has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
What is the difference between poly and just an open relationship to you? Or are those the same thing?
They're not the same thing, and not just to me. You could be in a monogamous relationship that's open, whereas you and your partner, you guys are just dating other people. They can be dating their person. Well, actually, that does sound kind of poly when you put it that way. But it's more like we're a core. You do your thing, I do my thing. And if that thing catches my attention or holds my attention more than you, deuces. That's how I've always viewed open relationships. Whereas poly is me and my partner has a partner. And I'm be honest with you, the more I grow, the more I learn. I realize there's so many ways you can look at polyamory. Because I've seen situations where it was a couple and one of those people had a relationship with someone else that their partner knew about, and that was it. The third person didn't interact. But it's the ability to be attracted to and have an intimate relationship with multiple people and being open and honest about it and sharing that with your partners. So even if it's not a sexual experience that you're sharing with all the partners, everyone knows about it, and we're all on the same page.
And so you are not dating now, but if you were dating, are you saying that you would find person A, and are you actively looking for a person B, or is it just if something happens, it happens? What's the vibe?
It's really go with the flow. Just because I'm polyamorous doesn't mean that I couldn't be with just one person. I usually approach any relationship if a person is coming to me for that. It's like, well, I want you to understand that I'm a polyamorous person. I just need you to be open to it. If someone presents themselves to us, or maybe you found somebody, you can bring it back to me, or if I found, just don't say, oh, I'm strictly monogamous and that's all there is, without any room to grow. Then I can't be with you.
You know what I think about? You know what I heard when you said that? When I meet people, I say, are you straight? Because for me, I can't be with a straight man. I don't do DL. I don't do trade anymore. Anything short of straight, I'm like, okay, I can figure this thing out.
Right.
And so what you're saying is anything short of monogamy, you can figure out.
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
I definitely feel like the person just has to have an open mind. And another thing is, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind to become polyamorous. That doesn't work for me because it won't work for them. If that's not who you are. Why do
you think that is?
Because I've experienced, and this is me, but I've experienced it where I was in a relationship with someone and I told them that I was polyamorous, and they said, oh, well, I'm not polyamorous, but I don't mind exploring it for you. So now you're going to build up this resentment towards me because you're changing who you are for me. You're not happy, and now you're doing things to make me unhappy. It doesn't make sense to me to try to convert somebody into believing something that they don't believe or subscribing to something that isn't them. Now, there is space and room to grow because a lot more people are becoming polyamorous that wasn't 5 years ago or even 2 years ago. So I'm open to the idea that, we're all learning and growing. and the idea of relationships is expanding beyond what society has told us it was. So for me, if you're open to the idea and you can come to the table saying, hey, this is what I know, and you've done your own homework and your own research, we got a platform or a foundation to build off of. But if you're like, nope, never been me, but for you, I'll try it. No, we good. Find somebody else. I heard we all have a doppelganger somewhere. Go find him.
But you know, the what I heard when you said that was, it was like, I believe ain't nothing new under the sun. That's just what I believe.
Right.
But I also believe that we have language for the things that we have done previously. Like,
yes,
niggas have been nigging for a long time. Like, if the girls want to go and have him and him and him and him,
right,
that has been happening, and you can actually develop. And I know lots of people who can develop feelings in that under those pretenses, who can have relationships under those pretenses. It's just now we got a word for it. Is that what you? It's
more. No, I think it's more than just having a word, because the word existed already. I think it's more of an open dialogue now, because I had my people on the side, but my boo didn't know that, and now all right. So past relationship, I subscribed to the idea of monogamy, but then that made me a cheater, because I had an eye for other people, or I had a connection to other people that I've known for years, probably even longer than my boo. On the surface, I'm just a dog. I'm just going around cheating and not caring about other people's feelings. And I subscribe to that. Now, I'm a bad person now, because I'm thinking like the person is looking at me like, oh, wow, why are you doing this? How could you love this person and say you love me, or do this and then come back home to me? And it's like, I have the capacity to love and to share love, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with sex. But because I subscribe to this notion of, or the societal construct of monogamy, there's no other place for me to be. Either I'm a faithful monogamous person, or I'm a cheater. There's no in between. How can you love two or three people at the same time? Well, I mean, I have multiple close best friends that I love, maybe not equally, because everyone desires and needs something different. I have multiple gay children. I love them all. Can't love them all the same, but I love them enough that they need, or the amount that they need. I have a large capacity. So now it's like, I won't subscribe to monogamy. Now, if I'm with someone, like I said, I don't mind being with just one person, but that doesn't mean that I'm monogamous. It means I'm polyamorous with just one partner.
It's like how a bisexual person can be with a woman, but that doesn't make him straight.
Exactly.
Okay.
I wanted to throw this out there. So it's like a man can be with a man, but does that make him gay? Because we're so quick to throw labels on people. I mean, because if it's just opening up the conversation more. I don't want to really dive into that one.
But I am self-aware enough to know that whatever you think you are, however you identify, that's what you are. I don't have a dog in that fight. If you say that you are purple, sure, okay, this is purple for you.
Yeah.
And I will ask because I have been in many open relationships, and I too am the same way, where I don't think I could get with anybody who says I am absolute monogamy and that is it. That's just not my vibe. I don't have a word for what I am, but I know that I ain't that.
And that's fair. Oh, I got a word for it. And this is actually the term, non-monogamous. I'm not claiming to be polyamorous. I'm not claiming to be polygamous. I'm not claiming to be monogamous. I'm non-monogamous. That's just it.
I mean, I do use that term, so I'm here for that. But the question I have is, can you love two people or multiple people to the same magnitude at the same time?
So I used the word earlier, capacity, and the answer is yes. Everyone doesn't require the same thing. Right. To say that I'm polyamorous would also imply that I've been in polyamorous relationships before. The last one that I was in, I'm still very close friends with both of them. One partner in that relationship, he and I were more sexual. The other one was more cuddle, watch movies on the couch, and just chill. We had our favorite show that we would watch. They had their own relationship outside of me. Where there's been times they both will come over and just chill, and I'd be out at work or doing my business. When I do dancing, sometimes I went out to dance and they came to support me. We all require different things, and we all fulfill those things from different people. Like if you got into a relationship with one person today, you can't expect that you're going to have the same experience that you had with your last partner. Right. You still love that person, but what that person in the past gave you is going to be different. And you got to understand, like, that connection is unique because of that. So I can love this person because that's who they are, and they offer something different. Like this person that's coming to me now is offering me something new, something unique that's unique to us. So yes.
But is that, like, I know, for instance, I only got one dick, right? Mm-hmm. I can fuck you and give you the time of your life. And then I can fuck you and give you the time of your life. And even if we are in a threesome or a group, I can only fuck one of y'all at a time. At the end of it, we all had a great situation, but I am only actively fucking one person at a time. Are you able to do? Do you have multiple dick hearts? Like, can you emotionally give to multiple people at once?
That's a very interesting question. That is an interesting question. How many dick hearts do I have?
I mean, no, you
can. Yeah, you can. So here's my thing. Like you said, I only have one dick, and I can only fuck one person at a time.
Right.
Okay, so when I'm done fucking this person, I'll go fuck the next person, if that's what we feel like doing.
But that's like a one after the other, and I'm saying, can you? If you, me, and Joe are in a relationship, polyamorous relationship, are you saying that you can give me what I need and Joe what he needs at the same fucking time? That's what I'm really curious about.
It almost sounds like the question you're asking is an impossible question. Physically, no, I can't. Like, if both of y'all laying right next to me now, I'm a pretty talented person, I'm not gonna lie. I've had two people bent over in front of me at the same time, and I've been able to entertain both at the same time. But if you want to be realistic about it, and that is realistic, but like in terms of like the norm, again, everybody don't need the same thing. And if that person can't wait 5 to 15 minutes for me to leave, to stop doing what I'm doing here to go to that person, that's probably not the person I want to be with anyway. And in that poly situation I was talking about, there's been times where the three of us have had sex together, and we all took turns doing what we wanted to do. We all was fluid. It was basically two verses in the bottom. There was never an issue about, okay, who's doing what with who. We all were able to please each other.
Yeah, honestly, talking to you specifically, I wouldn't be. I'm not concerned with your ability to sexually please somebody. I'm really not concerned, but curious, just about the emotional components. Because I'm a whole lot. That's the easy. Right?
That sounds kind of confident, but it is confidence for me. That's the easy part. Because I wouldn't be giving you that much of my time and attention if I couldn't connect with you emotionally. So we've already gotten that part out of the way. That's not something that I need to try to establish when we get to the bedroom, because we already got that part together. I mean, like, yeah, we have our one-night stands. We as men have our one-night stands or our hookups or whatever the case may be. But when you talk about a relationship with somebody, like, you got to spend time with a person before you get into a relationship. So by the time I'm calling you my partner, we've already solidified that emotional connection and that security that I think most people want emotionally. They want to know that emotionally that you got me.
Yeah.
That person being here. Yeah, and this person next to me is going to have you too. Because now we're a community. And you're going to have us.
I've never heard it that way.
Yeah.
I've never heard it that way. Now that is exciting to me.
Yeah, I like it.
Because I think in my head, because while I am not opposed to polyamory, I would not say I'm polyamorous myself.
Right.
But in my head, what I've always equated it to is we are in monogamous relationships with each other, with the people involved. Like, I'm with you when I'm with you, and then I'm with him when I'm with him, and so on and so forth. But what you're
That's
saying is we can actually be together, and
that's a form of it. That is a form of polyamory. Honestly, I haven't practiced that form of polyamory. I was approached for that kind, but that person wasn't on the same page as I was, so it just didn't work out. But yeah, I do feel like, and the way that I've practiced it is, yeah, we're all in this together. Can I ask you, what's your sign?
Virgo.
Virgo? Okay, well, this was something I experienced with a Scorpio, a coworker of mine. We became friends, and he was like, all right, now you know my other friend, but that's not your friend. We don't share friends. And there's people who feel that way, like, okay, that's my man. You can't have him. I'm not going to share him. I feel like that's a lot of selfishness, and I don't believe in being selfish as much as I believe in being self-full. So when it comes to my community, it's selfless. We here for each other, or else I can be by myself, which I am right now. So I don't. Yeah, until I get there, and when I get there, I will, for my partner, I can be selfless as long as they don't require me to not be self-full. That's a lot. I have to break that one down.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, because there are people who, I mean, you could be in a monogamous relationship, and you have people who, oh, why are you liking that picture on Instagram? Who that following you? How many of your friends do you talk to on the phone? Like, people have issues with friends. That's unhealthy. That's toxic. Keep that away from me. Y'all stay over there. I'm good. If you require me to lose myself, then I'm not being selfful, and I can't be with you. But if you can embrace me for who I am, I will be selfless for this unit that we have. Which means that we're giving to each other. We're pleasing each other. We're serving each other. We're, all of that together. We're building together. We can do things together as long as I can be selfless with you without losing my selffulness.
That's really good.
That's relationship 101 to me.
But I will say that, and this is just my experience, the non-monogamous relationships that I have been in have informed my relationship life more than anything else. Because what I experience is people who subscribe exclusively to monogamy haven't really had these kind of deep conversations with themselves.
Exactly.
To say, why do I like this? What about this do I love? What is important to me? Things like that. When you not tied to any one definition, you got to really parse through what aspects of this really are important to me and why.
So something I hear a lot is people say, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm too jealous. Well, being in a poly relationship doesn't mean that you don't experience jealousy. It just means that we need to talk about this. We need to unpack this. Why do you feel jealous? Do you feel threatened? Why do you feel threatened? Is there a way that I can help you with that so that, you don't feel threatened? If there's not, what do you need to do within yourself? Like, feel the emotion, but talk about it. Don't just say, oh, I don't like the way you look at him. Why not? Because it's not enough for me. That's me.
The girls ain't self-aware enough.
Then they're not. Then they're not for me. Then they're not for me. I need somebody that's emotionally mature. If you can't do that, then you're not for me. Don't shoot your shots, please. If you're not mature enough to have those conversations, please don't shoot your shot. Monogamous, poly, polygamy, whatever it is, don't shoot it.
We'll talk after the stream. Okay, that's a good place to take a break. We'll be right back. What up, though? Next week, I'm talking to Black Gay Culture's resident mental health guru, Hakeem Asadi. Before we start making all these New Year's resolutions that we know we ain't gonna keep, I want to talk to Hakeem about closure and all the people and relationship we need to leave in 2022. Then, the podcast is returning in January. We're still going to be new every Wednesday. You can binge on season 1 of Dear Black Gay Men podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. And then Thursdays, Ra the Wizard and I are back live for Black Light Matters right here on YouTube. Now, let's get back into this episode of Dear Black Gay Men Live. Oh, every episode of Dear Black Gay Men Live, I ask my guests a question from tonight's conversation cards. Tonight's conversation cards are the question deck that invokes deep, stimulating, and tantalizing conversation. It's perfect to set the atmosphere for a first date, a third date, or even when you're already in a relationship. Kevin, are you ready for your question?
I'm ready.
So, because you work in sex, I didn't want to lean into sex because that would be basic. So yours is coming from the Essential First Date Icebreakers deck. Your question is, how many official relationships would you say you've been in, and what gives them that distinction?
I'm going to... Shit. I wanted to say 4, but I guess I have to give it 5. Okay. So the first 2 out of the 5 were pretty significant because that's where I think I learned most about myself. More through like my mistakes, more through a lot of drama and toxicity. At least the first one. The second one was similar, but it made me think a lot more about who I am and what I wanted and what I didn't want. After that, I was engaged. That's significant in itself. Like, that's not some boyfriend girlfriend type, oh, we just going to be friends. No, that, like, he had a child, we moved in together, and I was really ready to spend the rest of my life with him. The one after that is the most significant relationship. 4 years, and we separated in 2020. That's when I separated from in 2020. And to this day, I love this man. I think I've learned the most about myself. I've grown the most into the man that I am. With him, because of him, as a result of us separating, the impact that our separation had on my life, like, it was just really impactful. And I've been in multiple poly situations, but the last one was like the most successful because I learned more about this thing I call poly. I love the people that I was with. And again, we're still friends to this day. So those would be my most significant ones.
How does relationship rise to significance for you? Like, what is it, a feeling that you get? Because I would say that a lot of people would say relationship is significant when we're dating exclusively and put a title on it.
Right.
But if exclusive is not a part of your norm, then how do you distinguish between, you know, we just talking and we dating, or we're a thing?
So our generation seems to have gotten rid of the whole idea of what dating really is. Dating is getting to know a person, going out to eat, going to the movies, fun activities, spending time together to get to know each other. That's dating. When it comes to being in a relationship, I've been in a lot of duds. The relationship lasted a month or 8 months. Like, anything under a year and a half for me, that's a little iffy, because I've had some friends that I've chilled with for a long time, but we never actually made it to that relationship point. So what makes it significant is the time, obviously, but it's also how much of ourselves we put into that connection. Interestingly, the one I said, the 4-year relationship, he and I recently connected. When we first got together, I knew that I loved him, like, after some time, but I didn't feel like I was in love with him for a long time. The first time we ever broke up is when I realized how much I was in. His absence made me realize how much I loved him. And I know a lot of people, when the person is absent, you're like, oh, well, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So that's how I know I wanted to. My world was just so bleak and dull without him. And I'm not going to lie, the past 3 years have been that without him. We've been together. That's significance. We cried together. We've built together. We've made plans together beyond just, oh, we're going to take this trip or we're going to buy this thing. Like, we've built things. We've integrated our families. And I think that's why we've been able to keep in contact. We both have puppies. I brought him a puppy, Chihuahua, because I have a Chihuahua. So we have baby Chihuahuas together. It's like we've built things. It's so significant. Yeah. So I think that's what makes it significant, that the way, what we put into the investments that we make in the relationship.
And so now for me, because I am curious, like, when you have the world, black gay culture is your oyster. like I said early in this interview, that there are very few people I could think of that don't know who you are or the space that you occupy in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
When you're so prominent, how does somebody even get on your radar? Like, real talk, if you in the club, if you at the kickback, like, what does someone do to even make your head turn?
That's changing for me now. So one thing about me, I was kind of closed-minded to the idea of people who are older than me in the past. Like if you were my age or older, I wouldn't date you. And I don't know what the psychological thing was for me. I've evolved past that now, and I remember I was at the club a couple of months ago, and this guy and I was having this deep conversation. He told me how old he was, and this man was at least 30 years older than me. And like I was literally interested in say, let's swap numbers, let's continue to have this conversation and see what else can come from. I think me being an empathic person, being able to connect with a person on a deeper level beyond just the physical. Like, yeah, we want the good look and body and a nice face, the big dicks and the fat butts. But if you can't hold a good conversation, you not only will you lose it, you'll never had my attention. I'm gonna look at you, I'm gonna smile, thank you for the drink, or I'll even buy you a drink. I don't care about that part. But if you can't hold my attention and a conversation, so I think that's the start. Just be able to have a good conversation. If you can keep my attention in the conversation, there's an opportunity for us to build from there. Which is kind of hard to do in a bar or a club. So
I would
chances are.
As a person who's not you, I just imagine that's hard to do with you in general, because outsider, I'd have to overcome the fact that I know who this person is. Mm-hmm. I have this story about who you are in my head because of everything I know about you, or everything you
think you know about me. And I think that's another thing that sets people apart. If a person, like I've had people say, oh, I know you, Venom. I know you, how you tear the girls up and everything like that. You've lost my attention because I'm Kevyn. Venom is on camera. So if you approach me as Venom, I don't mind building a friendship off of that, but you got to be able to evolve past Venom to really get my attention on an intimate level. Beyond, okay, I'm going to binge you over tonight, and then you're not going to hear me no more. Yes, I'm going to ghost you. I ghost people.
Really?
I ghost people.
Oh, Kevyn.
I don't feel bad about it.
You ain't ghosted me, so I ain't.
Hey, look, it's been 10 years strong, even though we ain't seen or spoken to each other forever. But no, I do ghost people because some people present to be what I want. And I can tell when a person is putting on to get close to me or to get in a bed with me. And like the conversation is different. I've had people who've attempted to act like they want to get to know me deeper, but time shows who they really are. If I give you another shot and you miss, then you miss. You will be ghosted.
The funny thing is not the ghosting part, but I've talked to a pastor, I've talked to many people in television and media, I've talked to all kind of people, and they say the same thing, that a lot of people will make as if they are interested in you, but really they're just interested in who they think you are and what you represent.
Let me ask you, have you ever dated a clout chaser?
I don't have any clout for them to chase, so no.
You do. You do.
So regular.
But I was with somebody who they made it clear from the beginning, I don't care about Venom, I want Kevyn, da 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 da. But every time you turned around, our conversations was about Venom. When we got into an argument, conveniently, Venom was the topic of the argument, even though during that time Venom didn't exist. Everybody that you seem to have dated are all porn stars. Like, and I don't want to call nobody's name. I'm going to just say that I created a platform for a specific person in my past, and they rode that wave as long as they possibly could off of what I created.
Hold on right there, because let me ask, because I picked the question that I'm going to ask, and I picked one for you. But the other question that I had was, at what point do you tell people that you're dating someone? And I was like, I ain't gonna ask that.
That's a good question.
But
So
like, when do you tell people that y'all are a thing?
I don't think that's a me alone type situation. I think like that's something that we have to come to together, because just because and this happened to me where I wanted more, the other person didn't, and that's fine. So the most I can do and what I have done is say, hey, I'm really feeling you. I'm feeling our vibe. I would like to get closer. That's the most I can do. And another thing that I've done in the past, the whole poly thing, I've also said to people, say, hey, I just want to be clear, because I don't like nothing blowing up in my face, and I don't want people to not know what's going on. You're not the only person I'm seeing right now. I just like to keep everything up front, so people don't come at me like, oh, you a dog, you never told me this, and you seeing this person, you trying to play me out in the streets and make me look stupid. Nope, I am not. You know exactly what's happening right now. I am seeing this person and that person.
That is very, very northeast of you. That's
I don't think it is. Oh, you said I don't know nothing about New England. I'm from Philly. So in terms of,
it's definitely New England.
It's not.
How it ain't?
Well, again, I don't know much about what New England is. I don't know what that is. So I'm from Philly.
Up there. Philly
no, it's not the same. They're not the same.
Pennsylvania is part of New England.
I don't.
Colonies.
Okay, that's what you mean. But no, I still don't think that we're all the same. I don't think that I am your typical Philly guy.
Well, I don't know about Philly, because you are
New York,
what I know, but I would say
Baltimore, DC,
just
and it'll
being so upfront.
Yeah, I don't see that happening in these cities. I don't see that. People will play along as long as they can. I just
South, I would say I would say that level of honesty is a lot more prevalent, because you come down here and it's very much bless your heart, and you don't tell nobody your business ever.
That is true. So I think it might be a New York thing. Yeah, I've had shit blow up in my face before. I thought that I had good control over the cards in my hand, and I didn't. And now it's like, you won't pull one over on me, and you won't say that I put one over on you. You're going to know what you're getting yourself into before you get into it. I want you to make that decision, so you know all of my dirt, you know all of the success stuff, all the fame. You know you know what you're getting yourself into before I actually make a commitment to me.
So we are at our time, but I do want to have you back on, because I'm very curious about the porn star versus all these newfangled content creators, and the difference between the two. I'm curious about that. We can't talk about it now.
I can give you a quick answer.
I definitely want to know your take on like all the content creator drama that happens.
Whew. I can tell you the difference between a porn star and a content creator.
Sure.
20 years.
Okay.
And staying power, because there's a lot of people that was around 20 years ago that ain't here now, and relevant. And it's not me tooting my own horn, but it's just real.
But there's also, now, not to be morbid about it, but there's a lot of people who have gone on, who have passed on.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, a lot of people, or just disappear.
Of talent who have fallen off, or
I think that's the point. But I think that's the point, though. A lot of people have fallen off, and glory be to God, or whoever you guys worship. I'm grateful that I'm still around. I'm healthy. I'm thriving, and I'm not done yet.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this first conversation, because I'm going to come back on. Make sure everyone, because I got to make sure everyone goes to @KingVenom on Instagram. You can get the links to his book and everything that he is doing. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, Venom, Kevyn.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation.
I appreciate you for making the time in your busy schedule to be here.
Thank you. When you invited me, I said, yeah, I definitely want to do this. I know I didn't get back to you with that, but yes, thank you for having me.
We don't have to worry about that. You got back and you showed up. That's what's important.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the invite.
Of course, of course, of course. For everyone, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Dear Black Gay Men Live. You can follow at King Kevyn on Instagram for information about his book, A Life of Lust. That was our show. I am Jay the Gentleman. If you like this episode, make sure you thumbs up on YouTube, like on Facebook, and share. Subscribe to Dear Black Gay Men on YouTube, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.